I do this on the behalf of the GBC body. Right? The first step is that this ministry is established and is working under the GBC body. And it is the GBC body's idea that we must have a ministry. So we also have our Honorable Minister here, His Grace Srila Prabhu, whose overall supervision that this ministry undertakes its actions. Srila Prabhu, if I do something wrong, you must pause me. So I wanted to make that clear. So all that we've organized is under the GBC body. Srila Prabhu is here. And what I'll try to do with you here today is to share some details of what we are trying to undertake. And how are we trying to undertake this? I was trained as an engineer, so I thought, okay, you know, when I graduated from my engineering, from IIT Delhi, I soon realized what Srila Prabhupada's books I had read while I was in IIT Delhi, that what you learn in your engineering or in the secular education, very little of that will come of any value. So I joined my first job and found myself struggling 4 years of rigorous engineering education, and I couldn't use even 1% of it. So I said, this is a good occasion for me to at least use that title of a Mistri. So I also in my life worked with large organizations where I would undertake restructuring. In the corporate world, big companies, etc. You restructure the boards, you restructure the operations of the companies, etc. But I must tell you, doing something in ISKCON is more challenging than doing something anywhere else in the world. Right? And whoever here has tried to do that is laughing right now with me. And often, while we laugh here, often in the evening we are crying, you know, in the mornings we are crying, now what to do and how to go on, how to go on. It's a voluntary organization where not many devotees are ready to volunteer for ministries. Yes, devotees like to work on their individual projects and they like to blame the central organization or the GBC body or whoever is trying to do something as to, why don't you do something? Well, we have only 2 hands and a small brain and limited time. So we can create a platform, a structure, which I'd like to share with you. So first I'll give you a brief, then I'll share with you some details. Yeah, just an overall brief of what we've tried to put together. If you were running something like this, you like to see an office. Then you like to have an executive committee. An executive committee should be people who are committed to develop the ministry. Then you like to have some sort of arms and legs and hands and devotees who are going to represent you in different parts of the world. If you're a global ministry, then you must have some presence. You must have some point of contact to collect information, to communicate with what's happening in those parts of the world. And those are called regional representatives. Now, the color coding is intended. What is in green has some semblance of where we made progress. What is in yellow indicates where we're in the right direction. Red means we just about started the effort. Okay, so green, this is the green color, the yellow and the red or the orange here. And this is red not because we are not making any progress, but because that's the logo color. So the central ministry is operating now. I hope so. Now, office, executive committee, regional representatives are hands and grounds in different parts of the world. And we have several regional representatives present here. May I just request you all to kindly stand up so that everybody gets familiar with you? Please stand up, if you can all stand up. So we have, right at the back, we have Giriraj Sakha Prabhu, Sridhar Pran Prabhu, Giriraj Sakha Prabhu from India, Western India, Sridhar Pran Prabhu from Bangladesh, Prannath Prabhu from Eastern India Divisional Council, Lalita Sakhi Mataji from China, our Balimardan Prabhu from North America. We have 2 more, he is representing them, and Tarini Radha Mataji from South India. So these are regional representatives. Thank you. These are regional representatives which are going to help in various countries with our efforts. Then we need to have some check and balance. We need to have an advisory board. There are people who are really working hard, moving forward, but there's a need of wise people, experienced people to say, turn your steering this way, turn your steering that way, stay on track, or you're moving away from what Srila Prabhupada wants. So for that, we need an advisory board. We need an advisory board. And of course, we need funding as well to run ourselves. Now, often, when you come and you have these conferences and you discuss about the ministry, everybody asks, what's the follow-up? What, are you really going to take some action also or not? So I thought it's a good opportunity for me to keep a complete half of the screen on your left side. On your left-hand side, half of the screen which we'll share with you the actions that we have taken, we are taking, and we hope to take. I smile because when I used this speech in English, I immediately recollected an Indian politician who used to often say this. And those who are from India may be familiar with that, which said something like, we have done this, we are doing this, and we are going to do this. But the intention is not an inspirational speech, but the intention today is to share with you facts. Share with you facts. Now, here on the left-hand side, I've listed in detail the various projects that we are pursuing in the ministry. So this is the model. This is the structure and help from funding, and these are the action items, or these are the projects that are happening. Now, the next part, see, somebody else will have to keep time for me. It's 11:30, okay. I start at 11:30, I start at 11:25, okay, I go till 12. Okay, so the next part, what I'll do is I will start sharing with you details on each of the boxes. So I'm presenting to you an operating model that we are undertaking to develop the ministry. Next, please. First, I share with you what the current office team is. There's myself, your servant. There's my wife, Indira Sakhi Devi, who is representing also the executive committee members on this office. I'd like to introduce to you one very special person who's sitting with us and working behind the scenes very hard all the time. Mitra Mataji, would you kindly stand up? So if you know the Ministry of Education, you must know Mitra Mataji, right? She's the one who's handled all the communications, especially for the conference, all the communications for us. We also have another young bright Vaishnavi by the name of Kunti Devi Dasi, who hopefully will be helping us with this effort. And a word goes out to Vrinda, Bhaktin Vrinda. She's the daughter of His Grace Rasa Krida Parayan Prabhu, my dear friend from Oman. His daughter, when we really needed some help, she jumped in full energy. And we needed help with the website and a few other things. She has a master's in digital marketing, so she's going to assist with that. And I thought I must put in bold some important points. Before I go there, I must mention Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Prabhu, who's sitting here, despite the fact that he's eating medicine and helping all of us to go through one presentation after that. Could you kindly stand up? Yeah. He's been helping us with the presentations. Prabhu has volunteered as of last week to help with some of the projects coordination. You know, if you're running various projects, we need help in coordination. Now, 2 points I wanted to mention up front is the ministry can provide a platform, the ministry can create an ecosystem, but the members of the ecosystem, which is yourselves, will take it forward, not us. We can do the coordination part, the Mistri part. But as much as you own this ministry, as much as you all participate and contribute to this ministry, as that much this ministry shall move forward. So if I stand here next year in front of all the respected Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and you find no progress is made, I'll take 50% of the blame. But you must also think. We need help. I'm not standing here claiming that we have a magic wand and everything will just simply transform itself. It won't. It hasn't. It's been 50 years. Progress has been made, but much more needs to be done. So we need your help, please. The next point I want to make upfront, we cannot handle complaints. We just don't have people or the system to handle complaints. So if you have a complaint, the best person to go to is your local authority or to the respective GBC members. If you have an issue with child protection, there's a child protection office, please write to them. At least for the foreseeable future, we will be trying to focus our energy on developing progressive projects within the ministry. And we just don't have the bandwidth to handle complaint. We don't even know if there's a complaint, who should we talk to? So please bear that in mind and contact your respective authorities if you have an issue. Thank you. We'll move on to the next. So this is the office structure, and if you, amongst all of you, if somebody can help us with the office, with communications, managing projects, incubating, innovating, Bhakti Rasayan Sagar Maharaj is not here, incubating and innovating projects which will help education, we really appreciate that. We welcome that. Next, we have an executive committee. I must first mention the name of His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhu, if you kindly stand up. Ramgiridhari Prabhu, for several years, was carrying on his shoulders the burden of love on behalf of education within ISKCON. And I thank him. Last year, I was asked to handle the service, which Ramgiridhari Prabhu very kindly helped me in many, many regards to take forward. And he continues to be a member of our executive committee. And right at the top, thank you, Prabhu. Right at the top, we have our minister, His Grace Shesha Prabhu. I believe everybody knows Shesha Prabhu. He's sitting here up front to encourage me. And we have His Holiness Hanumat Prasheka Maharaj here also. Myself, we have Atul Krishna Prabhu. Atul Krishna Prabhu was here just a few minutes back. He just went out. He's coming back in. Atul Krishna Prabhu is on the executive committee as a member, as an ex-officio member, because he's the chairperson of the Board of Examiners. He's an active member as well. We have Indira Sakhi Devidasi, if you kindly please stand up. She's contributing to the executive committee. And we have Champakalata Mataji. Champakalata Mataji, thank you for coming. I was looking for you. Champakalata Mataji, if you please stand up again. Most of you must be familiar. Mataji was previously the director for the CPO office. And she's part of the executive committee. Now this executive committee, Shesha Prabhu asked me to sort of convene and oversee its functioning. I must assure you, it's not a closed committee. It's not like nobody else must enter or talk about it. It's somewhere in the glass office, like, no. We actually are seeking for active participation. If there are devotees who are progressive thinkers, who want to work hard, give at least 10 hours of your day for Ministry of Education, we are looking for devotees with experience who have the willingness and the enthusiasm to help. So that's the executive committee. I revise. We saw the office, we saw the executive committee. Now we shall see the illustrious regional representatives. I requested them to stand earlier on. In our structure currently, we have presence in India, China, Russia, North America, Bangladesh, and Latin America. Prabhu Gandharva Das Prabhu is not here. He joined last week, practically 10 days back, the ministry to help us with the activities in Latin America. So that's our regional representative network. And we would like to, currently we've established this title, we've established a service description. If you're wondering why is it not there in another place, I have an answer. Often within ISKCON, we establish services, not often, sometimes. Sometimes within ISKCON we establish services, we establish titles, but we don't follow through. So what we're saying, okay, let's keep it to a limited number of devotees now. We have a service description. This is what we want them to do. Let us see whether the ministry has the ability to actually engage them effectively. So if we are able to engage these devotees effectively, then we'll be inspired to then look at other parts of the world to also invite other devotees to become regional representatives. This is to avoid a situation where devotees say, listen, you do this business of title, but you're not telling us what to do. So that's intended. We've not expanded to other parts. So that's the regional representatives. Let's go to the next. Advisory board. Hanumat Prashekar Maharaj keeps telling me, at some point in time, I want to move from this executive committee to the advisory board. Now, the advisory board is not established yet. It's an idea. It's an idea that the executive committee has talked about on a few occasions. And advisory board must have devotees who are accomplished, senior members of ISKCON, educators, and also some devotees who have also met success outside. So in the initial dialogues that I'm having, besides Srila Prabhu, I'm discussing with him also these ideas. I'm also discussing with Navina Krishna Prabhu from UK to see if he's aware of some devotees who are successful in education but may not be completely full-time devotees within ISKCON. Right? So we can take something from them as well. We can take something from them. They can bring wealth of experience. But we are only looking at devotees and practicing devotees like that. So that's the idea of the advisory board. We go next to the funding. The funding today and so far is provided by the GBC body. So we are thankful to the GBC body for giving us some funds. Remaining funds that if we fall short of, we put together amongst some members of the executive committee to sort of take care and run the show. We'll go next. So far I shared with you office, executive committee, regional representatives, advisory board, which is this side this side of the screen. Now I'm going to go on the right-hand side of the screen to look at action items. What action items are we undertaking? Okay, so I'll go one by one. Yesterday, Srila Prabhu introduced our technology platform, our web platform, and against each action item, there are some names given. These are the devotees who are actually managing or running this project. And if you are interested to help us, you can note down the name of the person who's running the project. You can write an email to VIPLAVAH.ISKCON and say, I'm interested in helping you with technology. And then our office will immediately put you in touch with Indra Sakhi Devidasi or Vrinda. We have only currently Indra Sakhi Devidasi and Vrinda who are actually helping with the technology platform. We need a lot more help. And these are the things that we're trying to do. I told you yesterday we're going to provide you a database. Now, many of you are registered. If you go now to the ministry website, you can start seeing names of profiles of devotees, profiles of institutes, profiles of programs. And I sincerely urge you, please, before you leave this conference, put in your profile, put in your program, let everybody else know the impact that you're making in education around the world. I shared with you about the electronic library, the discussion forum, the events calendar, our journal, and the learning management system. A learning management system is a platform that is utilized for giving training systematically. A learning management system allows you on a technology to go through one after the other. And we are establishing a learning management system within the technology platform of the ministry so that more and more trainings can be made available to the educators within ISKCON. Yes, let's move on. The next area is our quarterly journal. And Maharaj always looks at me when I talk about it and says, I need an editor. I need an editor. So Maharaj and Indra Sakhi Devi Dasi have been carrying this torch forward of VIPLAVAH. We've done 6. And Ramgidhai Prabhu has been helping us with the production of that. And Jiva Goswami Prabhu is not there? Okay. Layout. Abhiram Thakur Prabhu is helping us with the layout. Yes. But if we want to produce and publish a first-class journal, then it requires first-class articles and it requires a first-class editor. And we already have one and we're looking for more. So this is a request. We need help there. This is a quarterly journal called VIPLAVAH, which is available on our web platform. Anybody can look at it now on our website. Next, please. Then there is events like this, conferences. I could have called it a sangha, creating a sangha of educators where we can come and talk about topics which are otherwise not often discussed, sometimes even not permitted. Who will give time? Now, we are organizing for the first time this international conference here in Mayapur. Our hope is that we will be able to do it again. We've done 5. Ramgidhai Prabhu has undertaken 5 conferences in North America. To some degree, this is not the first time that conferences are happening. At least 2 were done also in Europe. 3 were done in Europe, in Radhadesh. Somewhere down the line, we sort of lost steam, as they say, And what we organized here, as Shesha Prabhu was mentioning, was an attempt to actually bring educators from all over the world and also from India to create a sangha, which has attracted, Shesha Prabhu was saying, about devotees from 18 nationalities. In our registration, devotees who came through the conference, we have more than 110 participants who participated, educators. And I would like to move on to an idea of online conferences only, also, which is a lot of people in the world are conducting online conferences. You don't necessarily have to buy a ticket and get to one place. It's nice to do that, especially if it's in Mayapur or another holy dham. But sometimes, for efficiency, we should also be open to the idea of conducting conferences. Atul Krishna Prabhu is not here, but we also had the conference, the symposium, the Shastrik Symposium in Pune. And we're going to have another symposium or conference in North America. 2 actually, one on Shastrik and another one on our annual North American Symposium. So we will request you also to conduct the same in different parts of the world. It can be at any scale. It can be in one room, simple room, get together, spend few hours, talk to each other, what's bothering, how can we take education forward? And that's a sangha, that's a conference. In the design of this conference, I must have upset a lot of devotees, because I felt that if I have to associate the name symposium to it, the word symposium has a certain connotation to it. And yes, a symposium can have networking, which is necessary. When you come together, if you're an open-minded person, you'll talk to each other. But it must also have some deliberation on fundamental topics. I was approached by many devotees saying, we'd like to give a presentation on our project that we are conducting. I like to give a presentation on my project, so on and so forth. Several devotees approached, and I begged them, and in some cases possibly also offended them by saying, can you please avoid presenting your project? Can you please avoid presenting your project? Instead, can you please extract the principles of learning, principles of education that you may have collected over the years through your project an others project and come and present. So that's why I kept more than 50% of time allocation, more than 50%, to make it a symposium, to make it thoughtful dialogue. I hope it was thoughtful dialogue on various topics of education. Let's move on further. The world and the way our lives are, we are moving. What I present here is not a substitute for a personal sangha. It's not a substitute. Not all education and transformation of heart can happen online. That's the first disclaimer I want to make. Okay? So I'm not dismissing that there is a strong need for us to have physical sangha of Vaishnavas to create transformation of heart. But still there are many skills and trainings that can be provided online. So we made an attempt, and Krishnendu Prabhu, who's based in New Zealand, who has an experience, has taken up this service to coordinate our online trainings on behalf of the ministry. I've listed here a few. You heard from Urmila Mataji yesterday. She showed the videos on curriculum development, and within that team of curriculum development, there is Tirthapavana Prabhu and some teachers from Avanti School Trust who are also contributing to that effort. That's on curriculum development. Next is delivering training. We have Mahatma Prabhu involved, Pancharatna Prabhu, who's overseeing the development of this particular training, along with Janmashtami Prabhu, Prana Prabhu, and yesterday Balram Leela Prabhu also volunteered that he is going to help with his experience on that front. Yes. These things require help. They require a lot of help. And at least for our first training, we were helped greatly by Sri Dama Prabhu, who also oversees the Full Dome Theatre, the exhibits for TOVP, and he was supported by a very bright young man whose father is seated here, Samba Prabhu's son, Sudama Prabhu, who helped us with recording it, editing it, spent endless hours in the studio to create the first training. Thank you. Thank you so much. And he's so busy, when I requested Samba Prabhu to please bring him for conferences, just doesn't have time. He's so busy with service. So I'm trying to show you that in these we will require. So what we're trying to create there, with the help of Pancharatna Prabhu and the studio that is often used for ILS recordings, we have created a facility where we can record trainings here, edit trainings here, and then those trainings can be shared with the world of ISKCON through the World Wide Web. So that's the intention. You need a studio. They're the devotees who are helping us. Of course, our aspiration is that we want more and more experts to come forward and share your skills and trainings. We want to establish more such studios. We had an idea to establish one in Alachua, where devotees are passing through. Locations where devotees are passing through. Vrindavan, Mayapur, Alachua is a large community also in the US, where we have senior devotees passing through. They can be recorded, trainings can be recorded, and they can be circulated. And there is an aspiration in this regard with respect to trainings that eventually some of the important mandatory certifications like the ISKCON Disciple Course, etc., could also be made available systematically through the Ministry of Education website. All right, let's move next. This evening, I'll share with you something which is good work, very good work, which is done by His Grace Naveen Krishna Prabhu and Usha Sahani Mataji. Would you kindly stand up? Usha Sahani Mataji is the educational director for the Avanti Schools Trust. They have put together a curriculum which goes from year 1 to year 9, from age 4 to age 13, age 4 to age 13 and 14. And This curriculum will be, we are working with Naveen Krishna Prabhu and Avanti School Trust with the ministry. We're working such that this curriculum will be available to all the devotees of ISKCON in order to assist them for their children education. It is meant for children who are otherwise going to secular schools, but it's a systematic program that will add Krishna consciousness to their life. We are currently evaluating. This is not necessarily going to substitute completely it's not going to replace, Sunday school programs, and these programs, they may meet different needs. So we're evaluating. But you'll be happy to note, and I'll share something in the evening with you. Usha Sahani Mataji is going to give a presentation. After that, I'll share with you the good work that has been put together and will be available through the ministry for everybody. So this will help our children to actually access Krishna consciousness from wherever they are in the world in a systematic way. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The philosophy of education. By this time, if you have the agenda in front of you, you must have already noticed that some of the topics that were on the agenda, a lot of them, weren't just topics for discussions. These were meant to be topics where we'll talk about something, we will then collect volunteers, and we'll form teams so that they move forward. So philosophy of education, we have with us His Grace Bal Govinda Prabhu. If you may kindly stand. Bal Govinda Prabhu is the Vice President at ISKCON Pune, very, very inspiring educator. He can do many things at a time. He can look at the screen, hear me, and at the same time chant at least so many wonderful shlokas. I have had the good fortune of his company many occasions. Bal Govinda Prabhu is assisting Maharaj, Hanumat Prisheka Maharaj, as he's taken the responsibility for putting together and compiling the philosophies of education work. His Holiness Yadunandan Maharaj very kindly agreed that he will help us also in this effort of Rasamandala Prabhu and also Gaura Krishna Prabhu. Where is he now? Gaura Krishna Prabhu. He's also agreed to help in our effort for putting together the ISKCON's philosophy of education work. Our intention is that we would like to come out with books or papers on this topic, on the philosophies of education. Let's move next. Tertiary education. One of the speakers today who's going to come shortly is Gauranga Prabhu. One of the speakers you heard yesterday, Pranava Prabhu, along with His Holiness Bhakti Brihad Bhagavatamrita Maharaj, Harishori Prabhu, and they have been trying to establish a university. Gauranga Prabhu has really taken this forward. I won't speak much because he's going to talk about it himself when he comes in. But the ministry has the aspiration that ISKCON must have its own colleges and universities. Right? There are definitely topics where we can carve out our niche, we can lead the world. Vaishnava theology being one, cosmology being one, humanities subjects like languages, etc. So the intention is that we want to have that, and we have a team of at least 2 devotees. If you may kindly please stand up again. 3 actually, Venugopal Prabhu, and all 3 of them. They are working on this project, and when Gauranga Prabhu comes in, he'll share with you. We are really aspiring that the model that we're trying to follow, which I'll highlight to you now, is we want to have penetration in the schools, be it our own schools, or if we can't get there, at least in the form of value education systems. We want to have presence by the inspiring efforts of the devotees from Delhi amongst the youth and college, and eventually get these people to enroll into our universities. So for that, we need to have a university. So that's what we are trying to do at the ministry in terms of tertiary education and collaborating. When I was talking the word action items in black, I must mention to you, these are all partnerships and collaborations we are undertaking. We're reaching out to the devotees who are doing this right. We're trying to create a system where they're willing to work with others, and we're trying to bring in more inspired devotees to support them. Like Sundar Gopal Prabhu, I was speaking to Ajita Govinda Prabhu, I said, we need to have a nationwide impact on value education. Okay, we go next. I have with us here also Champakalata Mataji, who is overseeing on behalf of the executive committee the effort for standard reviews and development. We are first focusing, at least in the school area, we're focusing on school standards. How must we have our schools, what infrastructure, what teacher-student ratio, you name it. So that tomorrow, or I say a few years, when somebody says a Bhaktivedanta National School with ISKCON logo on it, what does it really mean? What does it really mean? Is it really representing a school from ISKCON? We don't know. We don't know because we don't have a standard. What happens there? We don't know. So we must establish that standard, and there's a team, Vishwambar Prabhu, Gopi Gita Mataji, Balimarthan Prabhu, who's also present here. They're working on that. So that's on our schools. And Atul Krishna Prabhu yesterday shared with you the efforts that are being undertaken on the Shastrik education, reviewing standards on the Shastrik education on the 4 curriculums as well. So that's our effort on the standard side. Okay, I go next, please. Sunday school curriculum, we heard from Mataji yesterday, quite a bit on it. We're putting together a team so that everybody can work together and take this forward. Next, please. Books are the basis. Shivas Prabhu, our Global Duty Officer, Shivas Prabhu has volunteered to take this effort forward to establish, there's already an established culture, enhance the culture of reading Prabhupada's books, and the nationwide value education program that I talked about that we hope to undertake with Sundar Gopal Prabhu and the team. So these are the actions that we're trying to undertake. Please give us your blessings. And also, if there are any questions or comments, I can address them in the next few minutes. Any questions or comments? Can we go back to the operating model, the first part? So you can exit and then go to the operating model for the overview. Yes, Shesha Prabhu. There's a question here. Comment, question?
Just a comment.
Yes.
I was glad you went over the names of the different devotees involved because, like you mentioned Krishnendu from New Zealand. Well, he's just an example of what I see happening is that devotees that are involved with the Ministry of Education in the past are sort of coming back. Maybe they haven't done service in the past, but that tie has been there before. And that's true with Krishnendu and others as well. So I think that's a good sign. I'm personally involved in different projects in ISKCON, and I found that as management changes, as people come in and out, if they can always maintain a relationship, a service relationship with that entity that they served, it provides a good, strong basis, a fertile ground for the current devotees and current projects that are going on. So I think that, we as a ministry want to encourage everybody to do what little they can, and maybe now, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they'll be in a position to do more. And their experience will have been good enough that they will say, yes, let me take up this service. So I see that happening, and I'm happy to see that and wanted to let everybody know that. Hare Krishna.
Any other comment or questions? Yes, Balimadhan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I just like to know if you can give some insight on the timeline as well as the deliverables, how it will be communicated to the audience as well as to the other stakeholders plus the people who is going to receive it. So the timeline and the deliverables and the communications to the team when it is done.
So there are green boxes green boxes. If I was to look at the green boxes, I can give you timeline. If I look at yellow boxes, I will not give you timeline. Because to prepare a timeline, you must have people. And you must have people who are committed. Otherwise, if I make a commitment, I'm going to break it if I don't have a team. We have an office that's working. If you communicate with them, we'll give you a response. We have a website which we hope is going to run properly. We're beta testing it. We will deliver to you what we promised on the website. We'll create you a database. We'll give you a journal. We'll give you a library. But we also need volunteers. Those which are red, they're just starting out. The way I work in business and otherwise is first comes the team, and then you make commitments. And because it's a voluntary organization, Balimadan Prabhu, I can make a commitment that, okay, I'm going to serve for a certain period, but I cannot make a commitment on somebody else's behalf. What we're delivering for you, for example, the online curriculum from Avanti Schools Trust, I can give you a very definite sort of a commitment. So that is that today evening, you will see the prototype. Okay? And I know that in a couple of months' time, definitely, it will also be available for you. So, I'm not sure whether, what I understand is you were asking as a principle, right? Because otherwise, if you want me to go through each of these boxes, it will take a long time. We want to create a culture of transparency, and it's a big word. We want to create a culture where we can keep communicating with everybody what the ministry is doing and what it's not able to do. So we'll try to walk our talk.
I just wanted to say that
Take the mic, please take the mic.
in terms of communication, that would depend on the devotees. We are here to serve, but we would request you to give us whatever queries you have through email and through our website. So we are very excited about our web platform, but it will be as useful as the devotees who are using it. So those are the two channels of our communication, which is email and the website. That's how we may be contacted, and that's how we will get back to you.
Thank you. Another comment? Yes, please.
I don't know if you have time for this one. I wanted to ask if someone has a project in mind and they want to collaborate on the ISKCON level, how can someone approach you, and then what kind of partnership could you offer? In what ways could you help someone who has a project in mind?
Okay. So currently, we're trying to get familiar with the landscape of ISKCON and its educators. So up till about 7-8 months back, we didn't even have a basic database to send out emails. We just didn't even know who's doing what. So we started from the scratch. We started collecting some emails here and there. So we're building on that. This conference will also help. Now, like in most organizations, if we are able to systematically organize it to say, this is the person who's taking care of kids' education in this part of the world, this is the level of their program. And if somebody comes along and says, I want to serve as a teacher, we tell them, here are the opportunities. If we get to know that there is a curriculum that is being developed, and that's a project that the ministry is supporting, or that's a project that somebody else is undertaking, we're quite open about it. It's not like, if it's not a ministry project, then we won't help. No. Even if it's your project, please let us know. We'll gladly publicize it, reach out to the devotees for the sake of educators to put you in touch. That's how we'll do. So the more we get familiar with the landscape, the more we can help you. And that's the spirit of how we want to operate. Okay, in the spirit and the intention of time, I would like to close this conversation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.